Welcome to CPT coding for outpatient psychiatrists for the new codes for 2013. This is part one of a four-part series. I will be covering the changes to replace outpatient coding for 90801, the psychiatric evaluation. Nothing about this presentation is official or endorsed by any organization. My name is Dinah Miller. I'm a psychiatrist in Baltimore. I work in a private practice and I'm a consultant to the Johns Hopkins Community Psychiatry Program. Along with Ann Hansen and Steve Davis, I'm co-founder of the Accessible Psychiatry Project, which includes the Shrink Wrap blog, the My Three Shrinks podcast, and our book, Shrink Wrap: 3 Psychiatrists Explain Their Work. I have a number of disclaimers. I have no special knowledge about CPT coding. I've watched some slideshows, I've been to a webinar and a seminar, and I've been reading a lot about the changes. I have not read a CPT manual, and I have only read part of a chapter of an E&M manual. As of December 1st, 2012, I've never actually coded an evaluation and management service. The information you are about to learn is boring and it's tedious, and it's also subject to interpretation. To the best I can tell, the information I am presenting is correct, but I'm not completely sure of that, and I assume no liability. The information presented is not comprehensive, and some add-on codes and details are not included. I'm basically just aiming for the major issues in outpatient psychiatry. Because these changes have not been implemented yet, it's really not clear how this will all work. Please proceed at your own risk. I want to mention that I don't agree with the decision to implement these changes, and my personal reflections can be found in an article on Kevin MD called How Medicare Will Devalue the Work of Psychiatrists. Kevin Foe, who runs that blog, renamed the article. Originally it was called CPT Changes for 2013, Should We Be Outraged? Nevertheless, I am presenting this information, and I'm going to try not to inject my feelings about these changes. If you're not happy about them, please do not shoot me. I'm just the messenger. My intent here is to be helpful. First, I'm going to talk about replacing 90801, the psychiatric evaluation. There are 2 codes for psychiatric diagnostic procedures. The new codes are 90791, which is a diagnostic code that can be used by all mental health professionals. It includes the diagnostic code without medical services. 90792 is a psychiatric diagnostic procedure with medical services, and this is the code that psychiatrists will use. This is not an evaluation and management code, and I can find no specific requirements for documentation. You might want to be aware, however, that Medicare fees for 2013, which were recently released, show a higher fee for 90791, the evaluation that is done without medical services. I don't know if it's okay for psychiatrists to submit their services as 90791, the same services that a social worker would submit, even if medical services have been provided in order to get a higher reimbursement. The only other thing I want to add is that you cannot use an E&M code or a psychotherapy code with a psychiatric diagnostic exam code, and this will become clearer as we go on and talk about what those are. There's another option for a psychiatric evaluation. You can use an E&M code for the evaluation of new outpatients, and this is not specific to psychiatry. There are 5 codes for this, 99201 to 99205. And the key components which determine which of these codes to use depends on the extent of your history, exam, and medical decision-making, which relate to the problem severity. And I will go into more detail about this in the E&M codes part in part 2. E&M codes require very specific components and documentation. The AMA sells an E&M manual. There's a website. The APA has a free course for members and charges $40 for non-members, and it is from that site that I got access to the E&M manual that I quote in the rest of the presentation. I'm listing the website here, and in part 2 of this series I will explain some of this.